Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football, continuing with our freshman spotlight series as we go back to Norman, Oklahoma. We've already talked Jaquez Petaway. We've already talked PJ Adibare. Now we're going to five-star safety Peyton Bowen as a guy from that 2023 class that is going to be making an impact on this Oklahoma defense year one. Now, before we get into it again, just want to say thank you to you guys and especially the Sooner fans. The amount of engagement in your guys' comments under the PJ Adibare and Jaquez Petaway episodes truly does mean a lot. You guys have always shown a ton of love, a ton of support to the boys. So if you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. But more importantly, I want to know what you guys think about where Peyton Bowen fits into this Oklahoma defense, because you take a look at the depth chart for Oklahoma. Like, I really like this safety room, right? A guy like Billy Bowman, but I don't think enough people are talking about as being potentially one of the best safeties in the country heading into 2023. Then you have the Reggie Pearson, the 6-year guy who I know quite well from his time in the Big Ten at Wisconsin, now at Texas Tech, and now in Norman. It's a really good safety group, and I kind of want to know where you guys have Peyton Bowen in terms of year one production for Oklahoma. So appreciate you guys rocking with the boys like you guys have it. And let's get into Peyton Bowen. We're going to dive into the film and then get into where Peyton Bowen fits. Before we get into the film, I want to talk about just the caliber of athlete Peyton Bowen is coming in. You're going to see on the film, and I tried to cut up a lot of what it was and focus on his reps on the defensive side of the ball, because that is the position he's going to play once he gets to Norman. Well, he's already on campus, but when he's playing in Norman. But you're getting a guy that I love when dudes in the secondary have that wide receiver experience because they have the ball skills. And Peyton Bowen certainly has those ball skills. You look back to his junior year of high school, 12 pass breakups, 6 interceptions. Peyton Bowen's a guy that you can talk about all the physical traits that he has, right? A phenomenal build. He has that track speed. But the one thing you can't really quantify on the recruiting trail is the instincts that Peyton Bowen has. And that's the first thing that you see. And that's why you're so optimistic about him translating year one. There are a lot of recruits across the country who come in as highly touted guys because of those physical traits that they have, but they need some development. Peyton Bowen seems to be a guy that he gets that position at a high level. The instincts are top notch. And wherever there's a play to be made, it always into where Peyton Bowen kind of lines up. I again focusing on the defensive reps. And if you want to go back, I'm sure a lot of Oklahoma fans have already checked out the full cut up on Peyton Bowen. This is a dude that elite punt and kick returner, elite wide receiver. But again, the safety position and how comfortable he is back there at the back end of that defense, that's where I want to kind of focus on. So firing up the film, you're going to see one tip ball. That's the second. That's a safety's a dream, if you will. Always seems to be on the spot, right? And then you see the wheels, you see the ability to have the football in his hand and finish off the play. But this is the play that I mean, this is like top notch. You talk about instincts, you talk about understanding the position, reads the quarterback's eyes, know he's going to the wheel route, and just gets right in front of it. And he's so comfortable diagnosing plays. And then you see the long speed here. I mean, like, kind of beat here, but you see the track speed. And then when that football is in the air, like, goes up and makes a play. And that looks a lot like the play he made in Oklahoma spring game, where if you're watching an Oklahoma freshman summer, so if you're watching some college football in the middle of July, I'm sure you watched the spring game where Peyton Bowen runs hip to hip with Andrell Anthony and then goes and makes a play. That's kind of what you love about talking about wide receiver ball skills. Peyton Bowen certainly has that. And you do see some reps on the offensive side of the ball that are just special. Like, and this is just the movement skills, the ability to change direction, the ability to have the burners. Like, this is a dude that can play center field. He has the range to go everywhere. And then when it comes to tracking the football down the field, he just makes it look so smooth. And you're not surprised to see all the interceptions he had at the high school level because of how comfortable he is with the football in the air. You see that. I mean, like, readjusting to the ball. We go back and see this play. I mean, like, he's so comfortable with that football in the air. You don't see a lot of safeties coming to the next level being that comfortable. Now, this is kind of where I think it gets interesting, right? I think we all agree that Peyton Bowen's a dude. Okay, year one, there are some really good safeties in this room. And at the very least, Peyton Bowen provides phenomenal depth to this defense, which, quite frankly, under year one was not the case on either side of the ball for Oklahoma, right? The depth wasn't there when some guys went down with injuries, specifically at the quarterback position. There were some guys that probably shouldn't have been starting at a Big 12 level on the field for Oklahoma. And now in the secondary, you suddenly feel phenomenal about the depth that you have and that safety room, right? Billy Bowman Jr. and Reggie Pearson. I would challenge a lot of listeners to find me a better safety group than those two. And then you have a guy in Peyton Bowen who's just kind of waiting in the wings. And two things I love about this: one, Peyton Bowen's going to be really hard to keep off the field. Like you guys saw in the film, you saw during the spring game. This is a dude that is ready to contribute year one, and so he's ready to play. And the second thing is, even if there are some growing pains, Peyton Bowen's not going to be thrusted into action, right? He gets to learn behind a guy in Reggie Pearson who's going into his 6th year of college football. Billy Bowman Jr. is one of the guys that I think is most slept on in the whole entire country. And if he can stay healthy, he's a guy that I think is going to be massive. And then you have Peyton Bowen as your third guy that, I mean, you feel very comfortable. If Peyton Bowen needs to play, I think you feel really good about his ability to play. And that's something in a very similar conversation we had with Oklahoma's defensive line, right? It's just such a deep group. And Brent Venables went to the transfer portal and made sure that happened. And we were talking about PJ Adebawore and where he fits in. PJ is not a guy that needs to play snap one, week one either, right? Because you go out and got a guy in Rondell Bothra. You have Reggie Grimes. You have Ethan Downs. You have Mason Thomas, who a lot of you have been saying is going to be a dude in 2023. So you're suddenly in a spot where you have these studs who are coming in as freshmen, and they have the perfect ability to kind of come in, not be forced to play if they're not ready. They're learning behind some veterans. Rondell Bothra is another guy that's been playing. He's going into his 6th year of college football. It seems to be just perfect spots for these guys to be developed the right way. And Peyton Bowen, although he might not start, at least in the beginning of the season, is going to be a guy that provides not only depth, but some massive playmaking ability in that back end of the Oklahoma Sooners. And that's something that Brent Venables wants to get better at. They want to turn the ball over. You want to have some playmakers. This is not a defense that was run by Alex Grinch and Lincoln Riley, where we're going to play off and we're going to let you move down the field and we're going to try to stop you in the red zone. Like, this is Brent Venables' defense where he wants to get in your face. He wants to cause negative plays. He wants to force turnovers. A guy like Peyton Bowen, a perfect fit for the Sooners in that back end of the secondary, and a guy certainly deserving of that freshman spotlight. And we might need even to talk Jackson Arnold soon, because he's another guy that you talk about perfect situations. Jackson Arnold not going to be thrusted into a situation where he might not be ready. Has a chance to learn from one of the most, productive at this point. I wouldn't say he's the best quarterback in the country in Dillon Gabriel, but he's been extremely productive. He's extremely experienced. So what's beautiful about a lot of these top Oklahoma guys is they're in spots where they're going to be able to get developed. And again, they're going to be hard to keep off the field as well. So Peyton Bowen, a guy that I'm sure a lot of Oklahoma fans are very aware of, maybe not the national media, but keep your eye on him because he's going to be making some big time noise for the Sooners coming up in 2023. Again, appreciate you guys rocking with the boys. And if you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later.